Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience Waste Management Phoenix Open. Although no one says really the Phoenix part. Just the Waste Management Open. Picks, preview, one and dones, all the picks you need. Breaking it through. Obviously, Jeff Feinberg is not here. He is at home. I do have his picks in front of me. But today, to curse the show, we have Tim Anderson.
Tim Anderson.
That is not my name.
Can't say it that quickly. You can't work like that. You already not knowing how the production works, being live on Radio Row right here. You know, Doug Gottlieb's over there. He's interviewing Peter King. You know, got the Shake Shack behind us, and it's just us hanging out here. Talking golf at Radio Row.
It's an ideal situation.
Is it?
Well, being in a mall.
Yeah, I guess so. What's your favorite part of the mall so far?
Probably the Panda Express.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it has live pandas? That's how you know it's real Chinese?
Exactly.
It's gross.
Yeah, so you say.
You haven't even had it yet.
I don't need to.
You just know.
I just know.
You just know.
I just know.
We went to a nice restaurant last night, which is guaranteed better than anything else that's in this mall.
I don't know about that.
And we got locked out, and it was still good.
It's true.
All right, we'll have our picks. I'll have Jeff's picks at the end, like I said. But let's recap what happened at Torrey Pines. Alex Noren dumps it in the water on the 6th playoff hole. Jason Day gets the big victory. I had a terrible week of my round of picks, but I was 3-4 in head-to-heads, and that big Day over Tiger, -110, really kind of carried me. So it wasn't a terrible losing week. It was just a losing week.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have much action on the week, but I was glad to see Mickelson play well for a couple of weeks, for a couple of days.
He did not play well.
He played very well on Thursday and Friday.
He was so scared of playing with Tiger on Sunday. He was intentionally missing putts.
I don't believe that.
What a coward.
I don't believe
that. What a coward.
I don't believe that. That's just something you're making up to take a shot at the man. It's good to see Eldrick have a good 4 rounds.
What do you care? You hate him.
No, I don't.
You do. You hate Tiger.
I hate.
You're the only person in the world who wasn't rooting for Tiger.
I hate the hype around Tiger and all the people who are hangers on. Tiger himself, I would like to see him do well.
Finishing just outside T20.
Good for him. I think that's a course he should do well at. He should be competitive at. So I'm glad to see that he was. If he had not made the cut there, that would have been a significant issue.
I don't think so. His first competitive round,
real
round.
At a course he owns.
Of course he owned when he was the best player in the world.
Okay, but still he should be competitive, and he was. So I'm trying to give him some props.
No, you're not. You're just trying to tear him down. Oh, he should have been. He should have come T25. First time the guy's played in a year.
Okay, well.
A real round. Phil plays every week, and he was fucking terrible.
Well, he wasn't terrible.
He was terrible. If it wasn't for his outrageous putting on Friday, he wouldn't have made the cut. And then what happened on the weekend when it normalized? He was besides Grayson Murray, who was like 87 in the 3rd round, Phil was the worst player on the weekend.
He didn't have a great weekend, but
I thought it was a home course for Phil.
He
should really. It's the 30th time he had played the event.
And he's won it multiple times.
Yeah, not after they did the redesign. He's been god-awful since they did that.
Like when he was runner-up a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so he came second once, and he's missed the cut a bunch of times and never finished inside the top 10.
That's all right.
He's great, though. Thanks for coming out, Phil.
Okay, take your shots all you want. Phil had a respectable weekend. I'm feeling good about it.
So you're going to be on Phil this week, is what you're saying?
No, I am not.
Why? This is also a home course.
It is
It's one
course.
of the 38 home courses Phil has on tour.
I don't like taking Phil on a back-to-back week.
Oh, but he's going to be playing. But he's going to be playing next week in Pebble too.
Yeah, well,
all home courses apparently.
Well, Pebble is sort of a home course for him too.
How could it be a home course? Where's this guy from? Fucking everywhere.
Well, he went to school in Arizona and he lived in California. And I don't understand the hate. It sounds like jealousy, to be honest with you.
Jealousy of not playing well?
He plays quite well.
No, he doesn't. That's where this comes in. That's where the hatred comes in. You just make excuses for shitty Phil, who still hasn't won since the last time Tiger won.
Yeah, he's had some chances, and he's been competitive in all the majors.
So what you're saying is that he gets the good effort award for playing golf.
No, but only
that's essentially what you're saying.
Only one person can win. So if he's finishing 2nd, 3rd, 4th, that's good. They stole one from him at the PGA at Valhalla. He's had opportunities.
I still don't understand how they stole that
They
from
let
him.
Rory hit into him in the dark. And
that was too much for him? Rory had to play more in the dark than Phil.
They broke the rules. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road. I'm trying to get over these things.
You're not over them. You're not.
I'm trying.
Well, it's never going to work because this is probably the best we're going to see from Phil this year is probably like T80 this week.
No, listen.
Congrats, Phil.
I don't think he's going to win all year. I don't think Tiger's going to win all year.
Oh, Tiger's going to win. Don't worry about Tiger.
I got my doubts.
Tiger's looking good, looking sharp here. But the big thing of the weekend was JB Holmes.
Sure.
People are upset with Mr. JB. People forget he's missing part of his brain. He had brain surgery at one point.
Well, I mean, I didn't see it live because we were flying here into Minneapolis.
Well, it was weird because I caught up on Twitter after the fact, like going back and watching like the Twitter.
Yeah.
The best one was Feinberg had was after all of it was settled, Noren was going to make a shot, and you can like kind of hear JB chirping him like, "Don't go in the water," which he ended up doing in the playoff. But
that's low rent.
See, I like that move. I don't like the slow pace of play that JB was. The thing is, if you're going to wait for the wind to die down and you're trying to get into the playoff, what the hell do you lay up for?
That's
just
it.
Go for it.
He's clearly just protecting his money, which I don't have much time for. You're there to win. He should have taken out a fairway medal and gone for it.
You know who the number 1 and 2 putters were last week?
I don't.
JB Holmes gained over 10 strokes putting. Hideki was second with 6.
Yeah. I mean, raise your hand if you believe JB Holmes' story. My hand is not raised.
Well, this is his excuse?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is, an excuse for not trying to win.
It just seems
he's on my list now.
Oh, he's on your list?
He's on my list.
You need to have cash on him.
Yeah, but people who don't try to win golf tournaments when they have an opportunity, I got no time for that. I hate it.
All right, well, he ended up just out of the playoffs, still made like $300,000. I would take the $300,000.
Well, but again, I hope he enjoys his money because
you know what? I bet you he does enjoy his money.
Great, I hope he does. He didn't try to win, and I think that's a black mark.
Should they actually enforce some of this pace of play stuff?
Yes, of course they should.
But they don't.
Well, they absolutely should, and it's bad for the game when they don't.
Yeah. Nice to see Jason Day win. Turns out his back problem wasn't all that serious.
When he's on the top of his game, he's one of the top 3 players in the world.
It was the first time he had won since the Players in 2016.
Which is crazy, but when he's on his game, he's hard to beat.
Yeah.
Every aspect of his game is just about perfect.
And now he's healthy.
Yeah.
I just don't think he likes pro-ams.
Well,
I think that's why he constantly withdraws from them.
Maybe that's true. I don't know.
But Day over Tiger. I wish I had just bet Day like I said I was going to and then didn't end up doing it.
Like all you people who took Snyder Jans over Phil, all that's such a free bet. Phil is the significantly superior player. That's why he won that heads up.
I think, you do
it 1,000 times, he wins 999.
Well, actually, if you go to fantasynational.com, you can use the head-to-head simulator. So let's see, actually, how Phil does against Ollie.
Well, at that tournament.
Well, let's just see.
Ollie's been on the tour for about 3 minutes, and Phil's been around for 30 years.
They have played this Ollie's played that course twice now,
yeah.
Or 3 times now. He ended up missing the cut this week. He has beat Phil in 9 of 10 rounds.
Okay.
So he had 1 bad round. But so you run it 1,000 times, Phil wins 1,000 times.
I do believe
despite
that.
the fact that he has lost 9 of 10 rounds to Ollie.
I said exactly what I believe to be the case.
So you're just going on feelings as facts instead of facts.
No,
as facts.
the facts are that Phil Mickelson is amazing at that course.
Oh yeah, he's fucking incredible.
Multiple wins.
Great. Oh, he's just fantastic. You, sir, are fake news.
Not fake
You are
news.
the most fake news there potentially is in the world.
That's not true.
Let's just see at all courses how Phil Mickelson is doing here. So if you bring up the head-to-head simulator,
Phil alone.
No, let's just see. If you do, let's see, Phil Mickelson, maybe he's great. Who knows?
He is great. That much is asserted.
So we get Phil versus Ollie in the Fantasy National head-to-head simulator. You can go to fantasynational.com too to check all this out, and you sign up for a subscription, and boom, you're good. Let's see what it pops up here. Over the last all records, them against each other in head-to-head rounds, Phil's looking good. There you go, 34-13, all rounds at all courses.
Yeah, not close.
Let's pare this down to sample size of the last, let's say, 36 rounds. Recent results.
Okay.
24-9. So there you are. The true money line on that should have been minus 266.
You're fake news. I'm not.
But you said he'd beat him 1,000 times out of 1,000.
Yeah.
And we're looking at it, and that's not the case.
Can I not be a little hyperbolic? Am I not allowed any poetic license at all?
Not when you're that extreme with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the general,
Fake
I was right.
news. Maybe I have the wrong Ollie.
See, you're just annoyed because you assumed this was going to be significantly tilted towards Snyder Jans, and it isn't.
Let's see. Because there's 2 Snyder. Oh, there's one with a misspell in here. Let's try this.
I think that's the one you're on.
That's the one that I'm on?
Pretty sure.
So let's see how the other one does. We have to go fix the Ollie Schneider Jans metrics. No, see, that was the one that I was on. Maybe they just rated it the same. This is thrilling stuff.
It really is. This is what people came to see from Radio Row.
What, us on an iPad trying to figure out
Talking
Ollie
about
stuff?
Ollie Snyder Jans.
No, it works out the same. So it all works out well for Ollie. So his stats are not wrong. Shocked at that, but
the line was just a bad line.
Well, the line was actually a good line based on the results they had played at the course before.
Okay, but it didn't take into consideration
the all-time record versus them. That's true. All right, let's get back to the Waste Management Open. We were there last year.
We certainly were.
TPC Scottsdale, par 71. It's a very average course in terms of difficulty. It's very easy to score. The par 5s, despite only being 3 of them, still produced almost 40 eagles last year. There's a drivable par 4 17th, which you can go into the water. There are big numbers to be made at this course. We saw Spencer Levine when he was trying to close out Kyle Stanley like a few years ago, get the cactus in his ass, and he was chain smoking on the back 9. It was a real rough go.
It certainly was.
for poor.
It's a really fun tournament to watch. If you like golf, this is a fun tournament to tune into.
It is. It was fun to go to. I would recommend, although the pro tips that I would say is don't wait in line for 16.
No.
You're not getting in. Unless you have a box, don't worry about 16.
No, you basically have to sleep there overnight to get in.
Yeah, you have to show up at like 6 a.m. and wait in line for 2 hours. And that's not the most fun.
And then you're confined to the 16th for the entire time.
Yeah, which wouldn't be bad. Because you would see everyone come through. But we found a nice spot by the 6th green and 7th tee.
Yeah.
So you can see all the approaches come in and all the putts for 6, plus all the tee shots. And
on the par 3.
On the par 3. So that was really nice. And then at the end of the day, there's a big hill on 17 where you can see the players tee off. And everyone's drunk and passed out, and they start sliding down the hill. So you can take bets on who's going to get down there first.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that we were more ambulatory. We were able to move around throughout the course and see various things and see the crowds following particular golfers and who's popular and who isn't. I mean, it's a very democratic thing. You know who's the most popular based on the massive groups following them.
Yeah, even like with the leaders, like when we went last year, Bjorn Hanan was in the lead, and I had my bet on him. It did not turn out well. I had him and Louis, and they finished 2 and 6 by the end of it. And, of course, Hideki ends up winning, going to the playoff with Webb Simpson. But everyone's going to be all over Hideki this week. So I did the key stats, and what I came up with, the biggest 3 correlation numbers I found were strokes gained approach, par 5 performance, and par 4 performance on par 4s between 450 and 500 yards. So the 5 long ones. 2 of the hardest holes fall in that range. There 4 of the 5 of them play over par. Most of the course plays under par. So you need to not bleed back strokes. If you can gain strokes on the field, or even make a few birdies on those holes, you're going to be clearing away above everybody else. That's basically what Hideki did last year. So putting's going to come into it, but these are Bermuda greens that are a bit slow. What did you notice, really, when you were watching it? Like, what types of players? Obviously, Phil wasn't good, so just don't play like Phil and you're good.
What I noticed from our vantage point was the guys who could hit irons effectively into greens tended to be the most effective.
Yeah, just greens and regulation. And that's a very general statement for most courses. But
that's what I saw in person, that the guys who were hitting it onto the green, giving themselves a look at par or a look at birdie, were the ones who were succeeding. It wasn't so much length off the tee or even putting itself. It was that approach shot to the green.
Yeah, give yourself a shot at birdie. And guys can really go, like, they're slower greens, so you can go attack it. So even if you're 40 feet away, you don't really have the fear of, hey, I'm going to put this 15 feet by.
Yeah.
You can just go for it every time. There's no, like, hesitation, which leads itself to worse putters putting better here. Like, Hideki's never finished worse than T4 at this event. He's won it twice, come second, come in fourth. And he's had positive putting performances in 3 of those trips. He doesn't generally putt that well.
No, he just must have an innate sense for the course.
Well, it's like, I mean, these are slower Bermudas, but even on the POA surfaces, he's been a lot better, mainly because he can take action at them. Like, if there's no fear of, if you're going for every putt, that you're going to blast it by in 3-putt, then you're going to go for it every time, and you're going to drop a few of those putts.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It lends itself to a putting discrepancy that where the good putters kind of come down a little bit and the bad putters kind of come up. So I wouldn't really be worried too much about putting this week. The off-the-tee stuff is going to matter. Length, because of the par 5s, will come into play, but like you said, it's not the most imperative thing. Iron play over off-the-tee play is really what you want to hear.
Yeah, and elevation in Phoenix is so high that everyone will be hitting long shots off the tee.
And
even Spieth will be bombing it off the tee.
We saw Spieth bomb it off the tee.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're going from sea level in San Diego to way up high in Phoenix. It makes a big difference.
It does. And, I mean, the course just plays over 7,200 yards as a par 71. It's not long, but like you mentioned, it's kind of even shorter because of that. Guys aren't going to be, like, driving the greens, but they're gonna set themselves up. When I looked at the key from Fantasy National, they have a shot distribution of where everything comes from. 150 to 175, 175 to 200. Guys tend to get into one of those 2 ranges, whichever one they prefer. Generally speaking, closer the better, but some guys are just better with a 6-iron than a 9-iron.
Well, it's easier to chip it in with a wedge off the green than putt it, right? I mean, that's what we learned.
So hopefully Benny Ann, he's coming over from, I just want to see him play well here. I don't know if I can get out him at his price, but let's go to the top of the field. It's a stacked field. The Waste Management Open does not generally see this quality of talent. You can tell by the odds that there's a big discrepancy. So you have like your big 5 players this week. Hideki and Spieth are 9-1. Rahm is 10-1, and is another local guy.
He is a local guy.
It's a home course, but he's from Spain, so that's great.
It's a home course.
Ricky Fowler's 16, so is Justin Thomas. Then you get into that next level. Leishman, Webb, and Finau and Woodland are all 30, 33, and 35-1.
Okay.
So there is a massive gap there. I'm not quite sure of who I want from the top. I ran the Fantasy National Simulator, and it spit out 2 guys above all. Who do you think those 2 guys were?
Rahm and Matsuyama?
No, it was Rahm and Spieth.
Spieth.
Although by my key stats, Rahm doesn't really rate out well here.
Okay.
Because so much of his game is leaned off the tee.
So what explains the discrepancy then?
Probably playing on the length of holes.
Okay.
And because he murders par 5s. But as we saw, if he gets a little bit rattled, like we saw on this weekend, maybe he's not going to be so good.
Likely to be more rattled here than he would have been last week.
I don't know about that. He's played well. He played well here as an amateur. He didn't follow up his Torrey Pines victory last year with a great performance. He made the cut, and you would expect Rahm to make the cut. And he is one of those players, almost like Dustin, where if he's got it clicking that week, he can almost run away with it. But there's so many good players in the field that I just think about this from even like a DraftKings perspective, and I'll talk about this tomorrow with Jeff Bergerson. I just think everyone's going to be on Hideki.
Of course he will be.
He's the 2-time champion. But Spieth kind of is exactly what you want here. He's the best from 150. He's awesome on those long par 4s, and he's been the best approach player on tour. He just can't putt, which is really weird. Yeah. So eventually you think that swings back the other way. It's hard to bet him at 9-1, but it's not a terrible play.
I wouldn't bet him here. I think that Jordan Spieth's character is the exact opposite of someone who would thrive in an atmosphere like Phoenix.
But he's had two good performances at this course.
But in order to win with the crowd and the noise and the booing.
Then how does Hideki do it?
Pardon me?
Because he's a robot?
I don't know. But just there's a dour, unpleasant annoyingness to Spieth that I just think doesn't gel well with the fans. And people will be on his case in a way that they ought to be.
Like when we saw everyone just basically being blackout drunk and heckling the players off the tee.
Precisely.
And then getting into fist fights in the gallery.
That's it. They're not all like Phil giving us all high fives as we go by.
You touched Phil and he ruined his weekend.
I don't think that's true.
Well, you touched him, and then I don't think he made another birdie over the next 2 days.
That has nothing to do with me, though.
It sounds like it did. It's a pretty good correlation.
No, I really don't like Spieth this week at all.
I can tell you Feinberg gave me a shout-out that one of the plays that he's on, he did this last year. He had the Patriots money line with Hideki to get up the number.
Sure.
This year he has Ricky at 16-1 plus the Patriots money line, and that gets up to 27.5-1.
Well, but one of those two things is not going to happen for sure, and maybe the 16-1 wins. But that's got a better chance.
Really?
No, okay. I'm being again hyperbolic, but I don't like that. I would take Eagles money line, and I would take one of those guys.
Why? If you take Eagles money line, then you're really juicing it up.
Yeah, but that's the way I would play it.
So that's a losing bet, is what you're saying.
I think
so Jeff's is probably a winning.
Jeff should actually connect Tom Brady MVP with that golfer.
It's harder to do that with Super Bowl props parlayed with golf odds.
You can't do that kind of exotic?
Most places don't let you do that.
Okay. I got you. All right.
So money line works out a little bit better. A lot of people are going to be on – out of those 5 guys, though, give me a winner. Rahm, for sure?
Yeah, I love Rahm this week. He's been playing really, really good golf up to this point. Your numbers say he's finally tuned for this course.
Well, actually, no. The numbers say he's the 15th best player in this field.
That's still
the simulator likes him.
That's what I mean. The simulator likes him.
My simulator, my key stat model does not love it. It likes him, obviously. He's 15th.
Well, from my stat model, which is my internal intuitions, the internal lamp will illuminate my choices. I think Rahm gets it done. ASU kid makes good. An ASU winner's coming this week.
Why?
I just have that gut
feeling. So it's him or Phil?
Well, I mean, that it would shock nobody if Mickelson won here. He's got the caliber to do
I think it would shock everyone if Mickelson won.
It would never surprise anybody.
For a guy who never wins, it'd be nice to see him win, wouldn't it?
He wins. He's probably got the most wins of any active player in this tournament.
Sure, but he's also 90 years old.
That's not true. But
let's put Fred Couples in the field, too.
I'm saving Fred Couples for the Masters, actually.
That's a very good choice, huh? For a guy, let's take the guy who couldn't possibly win and use him in a one-and-done.
Well, he could possibly.
Really? You think that Fred Couples has a chance of winning the Masters?
I wouldn't take him if I didn't.
That is so insane.
Okay, well, thankfully they're my picks, and I can do as I deem fit.
Well, you can do whatever you deem fit. For the people out there, you need to know. Just fade those picks. Rahm being Andrew cursed. Is he going to be your one and done?
Yes, he is.
Cursed.
Oh, I thought when I'm in the United States, curses don't apply to things.
Well, no, as we figured out, we thought that was the case, but the last time you were in the United States, your curse magic wore off, and it went and killed poor John B. Anderson. All the curse momentum had to go into killing someone.
Well, my focus is right now not on the golf so much as something else.
So you watch out Tom Brady, is what you're
just
saying?
Focusing on the Eagles and them winning.
Yeah, well, that means bad news for the Eagles are coming.
I don't think so. I got a good feeling.
Wait till we get some snaps and pictures of you like touching some of the Eagles.
It'd be like a Nixon and Elvis photo.
Sure. Very current reference.
Whatever.
It's not a whatever. It's just, what was that, 40 years ago, 45 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was 1971.
So that's good. That's good. So you're making references to things that people who watch the show were like 22. So thanks for bringing that.
Okay, well, that's what I got.
So of those top guys, I'm not actually going to play any of them on the card. I might circle back to them at the end of the week, but I can think from this perspective that Hideki being 9-1, I actually kind of like Spieth a little bit better for this week, especially on DraftKings, knowing that Spieth is going to be probably like 1/3 the ownership.
Okay.
I'll check back in. You can check out my column up on DKPlaybook.com for all the updated ownership projections as everything goes along. I'll have those up Wednesday during the week once we get a bigger sample of the numbers, what people are doing. But, you know, the chalk is going to rest on Hideki Matsuyama. Jordan Spieth might go a little bit under the radar. And it's not, I mean, listen, Hideki has the best course history of anyone here. I faded him last year in the one and done, and that turned out to be a big mistake because everyone was on him, and he won. So I got way behind. It was like doubly bad.
Yeah.
And I had Bjorn Hanan, who was winning through 54 holes. If he had won, it would have been
He
lights out.
refused to give you a high five.
He did. As soon as he refused to give me the high five, it was over for him.
He doesn't understand the power.
You should have just not been there.
Well, I was actually saying some nice things about him when we saw him in person. I thought he was actually looked in pretty good form.
And then what happened to him?
Well, it's not my fault.
Yeah, you gagged it away. It was just like when you thought that he was the same person as Siwoo Kim.
I didn't think I made a mistake. I missed.
Well, you made the mistake because apparently they just look alike according to you.
No.
Every Korean golfer is KJ Choi or Siwoo Kim.
Or Y.E. Yang.
Or Y.E. You don't see a lot of Y.E. Yang.
No, you only see
anymore.
him once a year at the PGA.
So the next rung down here, you have Leishman, Webb, Finau, and Woodland. I know a lot of people are going to be on Webb. He has an excellent course history here. He was the playoff loser last season. But I went and looked at the numbers, and Keegan Bradley is double the odds, and he has just as good of a chance to win.
I hate Keegan Bradley.
I don't like Keegan Bradley either. But if you're going to tell me Webb is 33 and Keegan is 66, I know Webb is putting better right now. Bradley was a clean 0 when it came to the putting last week. Didn't lose strokes, didn't gain strokes. What did he come? T5. T to green, Keegan's actually playing better. And he's 66-1 instead of 33-1. I'd rather take that.
I mean, you lay out a very reasonable case. I just would be annoyed to have Keegan on my ticket because I don't like him. I wouldn't want to root for him.
Yeah, but the thing is, you will start rooting for him if you have him at 66-1.
That's what I mean. So I wouldn't want him on there.
So if he wins, you don't want some of that money? Is what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying.
It sounds like that's what you're saying.
That's sort of the way I think through some of my bets. Who do I not want to win? Therefore, I don't want to cheer for them.
That seems crazy.
Whatever. That's the way I roll.
All right, so this next level, the 40 to like 60 range, you got Berger, Noren coming off the playoff loss. So he played this week. He played Monday.
He played today.
Yes, he did play today. JB at 45.
God.
CH3 at 45. Steele, Lowry, Benny Ann, Zach Johnson, Phil, Matt Kuchar all at 50. Kazire, English,
That's
Austin Cook at 55. Reed and Piercy at 60 and 61. What's the one?
Harris English.
Harris English.
I like him quite a bit.
You like Harris? I didn't even say Harris English.
Yes, you did. 55-1.
55-1. That's a terrible price. I get he's playing better.
He is.
That's still a terrible price for Harris English.
Third here 2 years ago.
Kevin Chappell is 66-1, and Harris English is 55-1. Kevin Chappell is approximately 8 times as good as Harris English is.
Sure, but this is the course where Harris English has some experience and has some success.
Sure.
And he played well last week. He played well at Career Builder. I like the way his game is rolling at 55-1. I could see him winning this thing. It wouldn't shock me.
Let's see how he rates out over, what are we looking at here? Past 50 rounds. So we'll see how it affects him just a little bit. We'll run it twice. We'll run it 50 rounds. He is basically god-awful at everything except for approaches from 170 to 200 yards.
Which, as we mentioned, is a pretty good thing to be good at this
Sure,
course.
but that's over the last 50. Let's take a look here over the past 12 rounds. See, you mentioned he is playing a lot better with his recent form. Maybe this is going to work out a little bit better for him once this ends up loading. But he has 2 top 10s here over the years.
Yeah.
But it's generally speaking, where are we at here? Harris English, There we go. There's the update. He's been awful with approaches. He's in the red in approaches.
Yeah, I
on
see
Fantasy National, it's color code. It's easy to use.
But on the par 5s, he's been quite excellent.
On the par 5s, he has been. So you wonder, he's not hitting approaches well. He's not gaining strokes through greens and regulation. He's brutal from 150 to 175. He is, and he's actually dropped from 175. That leads me to believe, if I click on his player, that he's doing well around the greens, and he's probably putting at an abnormal rate, if I had to guess. Let's see, he's gained, there we go. He did play well with approaches at the Farmers, gained 3 strokes on the field, none off the tee, putting around the green, no thanks.
Okay. But that's why he's 55 to 1. Like that's
well, he should be like 200 to 1. 55 to 1 is not a shot in the dark. Look at the other players who are in his range.
I get you, but I mean, it's one of the things with golf betting that that maybe I bristle with is that if I think somebody's going to win or I like them to win, I almost don't care what the odds are. Like, if they win, they win.
Like, you're telling me you would rather take Harris English at 55 to 1 than taking, like, Zach Johnson, Shane Lowry, Matt Kuchar all at 50 to 1? Like, that seems crazy.
I mean, I think those golfers are all better golfers, but I just like the form Harris English is in this week, and I have a feeling about him.
You got a gut feeling?
Like, you just can't take everyone – you can't take all the best value odds all the time. Every now and then you got to take a shot with somebody, even if it's not the odds you want, because you think they're going to do really well.
Sure, I can get on board with that, and I missed out on that last week. One of the big things that I always try to prey on in terms of the odds is that the North American books don't always update to how people play on the European Tour.
Sure.
Now, normally this is why I ended up on, like, Louis when he comes over for the first time, or Charles. It's how I ended up on Willett for the Masters. He was just severely underpriced. Noren was severely underpriced last week, and for whatever reason, I just couldn't buy into it, and I really should have. Because even, like, I hedge. A lot of people don't hedge, but I would have made my money off Noren last week at 70 to 1.
Of course you would.
I know Feinberg did a slight hedge, but it wasn't a full one. Like, it's one of those things where either you do it all the time, I feel, or you never do it. You either let it ride 100% of the time because you're going to kick yourself because you're going to make mistakes with the hedging. Sometimes you hedge and your guy wins.
Yes. But sometimes you can also middle on a hedge, and that can also work out in your favor.
That's so tough, though.
Well, it is tough, but it can also happen. So, I mean,
but like,
I like to hedge too. I'm a hedger.
But you're getting negative odds on both sides of it. Like going into the playoff this morning, Day was minus 120, Noren was minus 110.
Yeah, I still would have hedged.
I would have hedged too, but there's no room to middle.
No, not there. There isn't. No, but there are other spots where you can middle.
Not really in golf, no.
There are. I suppose you. Yeah, I guess golf would be harder. More football.
Well, this is a golf show.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I'm at the Super Bowl radio row. Forgot that.
And we've been predominantly talking about golf.
Yes.
And you're talking about middling teasers in football.
That's the way my brain works.
As we talk about the context of golf wagering.
That's the way my brain works.
Okay. Bubba Watson in the 66 range. You got Chappell, Keegan, Cam Smith, Bubba, and Piercy, Henley, and Stanley all at 66. Stanley's won this before. Bubba used to have a great track record here. He's back to playing the white balls again. No more colored balls for Bubba. Although last year he came out and complained that he's only playing this event because it's a sponsor thing. And he doesn't give a crap.
Yeah, I don't want any part of him then.
Non-engaged Bubba is bad news.
Yes. Well, non-engaged any golfer is bad news.
But especially Bubba.
That makes sense. If he's only there because he has to be, he's just here so he doesn't get fined, I don't want him.
Let's see what Bubba's been up to. He's gained strokes through his approach shots once since the Open Championship.
Yeah, wow. Oof.
That's not good.
No.
Although his strokes gained off the tee, I have a feeling for a couple of my DraftKings lineups, and I'll talk this through with Bergerson more, that I don't mind Bubba as a flyer here, just because I know what his upside is. If he shows up and he is engaged, he can dominate the par 5s. He dominates long par 4s. And
he'd be engaged if he has a good first round. I think that's what it would take, right? He can't be like, if he's like 55th after the first round, I think he's done. If he's like 15th after the first round, then I think he would be locked in. So he's almost somebody, if I could, I would bet him after the first round. Well, then I'd know where he's going to be.
Yeah, but if you wouldn't want to bet him after the first round, you'd rather take your 66, because if he has a good first round, he's such a big name that he'll have no value after the first round. If he's within one of the top 3 spots, he becomes like 12 to 1 overnight.
12? Okay.
Well, if he was in like the lead.
Well, yeah, the lead. I mean, if he's like 15th, 16th, 17th, maybe get him at 20 to 1.
That 20 to 1 with Bubba. That sounds awful.
But again,
why didn't I just bet Ricky before the tournament started?
Okay, but you can do both.
Why would you want to do that? Now you're just chipping away at your overall
All right,
profit.
fine.
Why don't you middle it?
Yeah, okay, all right.
So let's see here. We got Austin Cook. Hurt his strokes gained approach at Career Builder, but he had the bad final round, and at that course, it only takes into consideration the tournament course. It doesn't take into consideration the other ones because there's no shot length data. But he's been pretty lights out with his iron play. I don't mind him at 55. And let's see, Patrick Reed is starting to ramp up with the approach game again. He just can't hit it off the tee, which is really weird.
Yeah, although this is, of course, if there's any PGA Tour event which is the most like the Ryder Cup, this would be it. And, of course, that's where he thrives, is that type of un-golf-like atmosphere. So it would not surprise me if he actually played very well at this tournament.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really like Patrick Reed. I think he's supremely overrated. But this is a place I think he could pop. It wouldn't shock me whatsoever.
Would you go Noren here again?
No.
Noren and Berger. I always like guys coming off like a second-place finish.
But
I
he's
feel
a
like those
second-place
guys-
finish. We had to stay an extra day in San Diego before he gets to Phoenix.
Oh, Lord, that 50-minute flight is going to kill him.
Yeah, but he had to spend an extra day thinking about, like, he's one fewer day of preparation. The extra stress and sort of emotionality weighed down on him. I don't know. I think I would pass.
I like the number. I really like 40-1. I think that's a very fair odd. It's just like Berger's right in that range, too, at 40, who seems like a player who always puts better on Bermuda.
Yeah, I like Berger this week, actually, a little bit.
Oh, well, now I don't, so I'm going to be out on Berger. Poor Jeff, you're already ruining half his picks.
I wish all of his picks good luck.
Oh, God. So I think I might actually go back to Noren at 40. That number, I feel like, if you're going to give me – I know the Webb Simpson course history here is playing a factor, but again, like, Webb at 33 or Noren at 40? Well, Noren's a significantly better player.
He's a top 10 player in the world.
Yeah, well, ish now. I think he dropped out. He might be back in now.
Okay.
Had he have won, I think he would have been back inside the top 10. I haven't actually checked out.
Noren's a marvelous golfer. He's good. I think he'll probably win one of the majors this year. So.
Which one?
I don't know. I'll say the British Open.
The Open Championship?
Yes.
That's Sergio's to lose.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Why?
I think for Sergio, sort of, now that he's got his major, I think he's sort of taken a step slightly back.
Really? He won like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm talking about a major championship. With the stress off him, I think he's a little more eased.
You don't think that makes him better at these events now that the monkey's off his back?
I like just because sometimes guys get the monkeys off their back and they never win again.
Like Keegan Bradley.
Like Steve Young never won another Super Bowl after he got the monkey off his back.
Golf.
Keegan Bradley
Keegan
Bradley never won another major. Jason Duffner never won another major.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's because you keep picking him to win, so he can't win.
Yeah, I think
all he can do is miss the cut.
I like Duffner quite a bit.
Not too bad he's not here. You should have bet on him.
I know.
So this 66 range, though, is really interesting to me. Chappell, Bradley, Cam Smith, Bubba, Piercy, Henley, Stanley. Where I'm not going to play at the top of the card, I'm going to take a few shots with these guys. I do think it's where there's so many good players in this field that I think that you're going to see a situation where one of those guys does rise to the top. Like if Hideki just wins again, no one's going to be surprised.
No.
Just like if Spieth wins, it's like, oh yeah, Spieth wins things.
Although
he wins.
I actually would be quite surprised if Hideki won.
Why?
Who other than Tiger Woods has won an event 3 straight years?
Steve Stricker.
That's one person in, well over. It just seems so unlikely. Like the law of averages suggests it's just not going to happen.
Well, I mean, this year is completely independent of the past.
I know it is, but it just seems to me highly unlikely.
I wouldn't be surprised if Hideki won.
Okay.
He's the favorite for
in a vacuum, no, but anyway.
It just seems so strange. I like Scott Piercy in this range. Great desert golfer, great with the irons. He's back from the injury, played really well at Career Builder, faltered a little bit down the stretch, but now you're getting him at 66 at a course where he's played very poorly his last 3 attempts, but before that, a T12, a T3, he does have experience at this course of playing well, and he's heating up at the right time.
Sure.
So this is where I like him, a Las Vegas guy. He's used to the altitude. He can handle his approach shots in that. So 66-1, I like it. I'm giving a hard look to Kevin Chappell and Kyle Stanley as well at 66. Stanley's won this event.
Yeah, like you said, that makes perfect sense to me.
So I'm auto-locked in on Snedeker for 70. I'm just betting Snedeker every week until the Masters because he needs to win to get into the Masters.
That was part of my logic in taking him last week in the one and done. Just thought that may be a place he had done really well there before. I thought he might pop there.
Pebble might be his spot next week, so we'll see.
It could be.
But now he's.
I hope not, since I already used him.
Just look at this, just look at this range though, in terms of quality. We're down to the 70 range. Hoffman, Molinari, Snedeker, Palmer coming off the playoff loss. Ryan Moore playing for the first time this year. I'm in on J.J. Spawn again at 70-1. He was T10 here last year.
I like Hadley too. I know he's a little bit down there.
Yeah, I like Hadley as well. He's 100.
Yeah.
He was he was third in strokes gained approach last week. If he can get some semblance of distance off the tee, which you mentioned with the altitude that he can, I mean, a bomb on him at 100-1.
Is this his first crack at this course?
No, I think he's played it before. Let's go see. I mean, he hasn't been this good before.
I know.
Is sort of the thing. So let's filter here by Waste Management Phoenix. So easy to do on this site, by the way.
He wasn't there last year, but he was 2 years previous.
So he has a miscut and a T60 in 2 stops.
And then didn't play last season.
Because he was not on the tour last season.
That explains it.
And he won his way back on by being the Web Player of the Year.
Okay.
But you have like X down in this range. He's 90 to 1, which is kind of crazy. Bud Cauley opened at 33 to 1 last week at Torrey Pines. By the time it closed, he was 60 to 1. He made the cut. Now he's 80 to 1. This could be a spot for him.
Okay.
He's a bomber. He's not scoring well on par 5s right now, but that is something he historically does well. So you get another shot at him here at a very discounted price. Everyone loved him 2 weeks ago, and we're betting him at like 22 to 1 at Career Builder. Now he's 80 to 1. I guarantee you no one wants anything to do with him.
I mean, you know better than I do on him.
That seems like a decent spot. The other guy from down here, both 125 to 1 that I'm looking at. I'll be in on Surrey.
Okay.
I asked Surrey. They told me, pick Surrey. So I was like, all right. 125 to 1 for him. He's a bomber.
Okay.
This is where Brooks broke through 2 years ago coming over from the European Tour. The irons last week were a big problem for Surrey. He did make the cut, but he lost 5 strokes through approaches. That only has to get better. He is a much better player than that. Now that he's acclimated to the time zones, he's over from Europe, I think that he can get it on the go a little bit. This course sets up a little bit better for him.
Okay.
So I like him at 125.
Who was it last year that wore that Austin Matthews Maple Leafs jersey while he was putting? It was so obnoxious, and I'm just thinking of it now.
Was it Graham DeLeff?
No, I don't think it was Graham DeLeff. It was somebody else.
Adam Hadwin?
No, I don't even know if it was a Canadian.
Who else would it be?
I don't know. I thought maybe you.
Why? How would that not be a Canadian?
I don't know. I just have thought of that now and how awful that was.
Remember we saw those people in the Rough Riders jerseys following around Graham DeLeff?
That was. Yes, I do.
Poor Graham DeLett's not even here. He hasn't played yet this year.
He's too busy grooming his beard.
So I haven't quite decided, but the 3 bombs I like from here, I mentioned it. Siwoo Kim's the auto bet. I don't even really say that every.
What about DeChambeau? Is he someone to take a crack at this week?
No, you like him too much. And
I think he's pretty good.
The only weeks that he can win are the weeks you forget that he exists, and then he wins. Then you're back on him, and he sucks.
I very rarely forget he exists.
But you did once.
One week,
and what happened?
And he won.
And he won.
Because he's an amazingly talented golfer and is the future of the sport.
Oh, my God.
His way of playing golf is the future of the sport, I mean.
The future of the sport is Siwoo Kim,
Plus,
who has double the amount of career wins as Bryson DeChambeau.
Plus, DeChambeau is essentially a haberdasher out on the golf course. That helps.
Where's your jaunty chapeau?
I can't wear it over top of this regalia.
Why not?
It just would look weird.
Would it? You could put the headphones over top of it.
I suppose I could. But then you just mock me.
I would mock you. Bryson is 140 to 1.
He should be like 70 at his talent.
No.
That's bad. I think there's value there.
You take Bryson. Be on your way.
He'll be my B player.
Oh, he's going to be your B1.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you just make him your overall one?
No.
Stop cursing Rahm.
No, because I got a good feeling about Rahm.
Okay. So Siwoo at 110. I'm in. I'm in every week. Brandon Harkins, 125 to 1.
I don't know who that is.
Most people don't know who that is. He's going to be a legit sleeper this week, I think. A lot of it has to do with his putting, granted, over the past 3 weeks. I mean, he's just been trending up and up. 25th, 12th, 8th. Like, he's just been around there.
You could say anything right now, and I would believe you. I don't know anything about him.
I wrote him up in my column on TK Playbook, though. He's killing it on the par 5s. He's putting the lights out, and he's been really, really good. He's top 5 in this field over the last 12 rounds in par 4s, 450 to 500 yards. He's going to be cheap. He's 125 to 1. I like him. The other guy is Peter Uihlein, who I was on last week. He ended up missing the cut after a nice day 1. This is an easier course. He is a bomber. He is a highly skilled individual. More people will gravitate towards Surrey this week. Instead of Uihlein, almost similar background of players, European Tour coming over to the PGA Tour. 125 to 1 is the wrong odds on him, so just be in on Peter Uihlein. You want to be there when the breakout happens. If you're going to start getting 125 to 1 numbers, take it.
You make me almost want to have to tail him, but I won't.
You won't, thank you.
I promise you I won't.
You should take Party Marty Laird. He's the same odds.
No.
You just play DeChambeau.
I got a good feeling about DeChambeau. I think he'll be top 10.
Jesus. Theoretically, Grayson Murray rates out well, but he has such blow-up potential. Where we saw it on the weekend.
Yeah, he took a 90 or something.
Garrigus, by the stats, I mean, he's more of a stat guy, but Luke List right now is like 140, and Garrigus is going to be in the 200 range. We got top 5 each way sort of bet on him. I like a little bit, just because he can bomb it. And he's going to be tee to green. Amazing. And whether or not he loses 8 strokes on the green with his little
mini stick as a putter. Yeah.
Maybe if he should get a putting coach.
Still remember the day we watched him rinse it 3 straight times.
I had an outright bet on him.
That was bad.
It was so hot at the St. Jude that day.
Yeah.
He was sweating through his pants.
Yeah, it was not a good situation.
Anyone else from down on the bottom of this list you like? How about Vaughn Taylor, your main man, the man who strikes fear into the heart of Phil?
Sang Moon Bay.
Sang Moon?
Yeah.
How has Sang Moon been since he came back from his Army service?
I mean, his numbers look quite good for someone who's got a 400
to 1 odds. Let's see. Sang Moon has missed every cut since returning. 5 straight missed cuts since returning from military service.
Sounds like he's due. Sounds like he's due.
It does sound that way, doesn't it? Yeah, there's no one really down here that I like. T-Dunks. T-Dunks is 500 to 1.
Jeff Ogilvy.
If you just look, you just try to look for the one thing that I do like looking at this in terms of how people rate out, like when you're looking at these losers down at the bottom.
KJ Choi is 400 to 1.
You gonna play him?
No.
Play some KJ? 47-year-old KJ?
Poor guy.
What? KJ's all right.
I like him.
On the Fantasy National site, one of the best ways to do is just look for anyone that fills out super green numbers here. So you look at Tyler Duncan. He's 7th in the field over the past 12 rounds from one of the key proximity ranges, and he's 5th in greens and regulation gains. So he's one of those guys that's going to put it in the fairway, put it on the green somewhere, and have some putts for it.
Give me a 300 to 1 guaranteed winner.
Yeah, please. Who you taking? Who should I punt on?
I don't understand that term punt either.
It's like bet.
Yeah, I don't understand why that would be the term. Anyway.
Nick
Makes
Taylor.
no sense.
Nick Taylor, 3rd in par 5 scoring, 250 to 1. Canadian. Maybe you look for him as low Canadian.
Yeah, maybe he'll be wearing a Maple Leafs jersey.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the low Canadian odds are going to be, but I guarantee you that he's going to be much lower than Adam Hadwin.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
He'll probably be like, we're talking about like low Canadian. I don't know how many Canadians are in this field. I don't see Ben Silverman, Jeff's buddy. But I bet you Nick Taylor's like plus 250 and Hadwin's like minus 110.
Okay.
So that's not a bad one if you want to prop up other things. Steve Stricker's playing this week. Coming off his big win at the President's Cup.
Good for him.
Getting some momentum on the go.
I like Steve Stricker.
He had a nice run last year.
Yeah. I always cheer for Steve Stricker when he's in a tournament.
Are you going to cheer for him this week?
No, I remember I think it was at Olympic Club, and I was cheering for him desperately to win because Phil couldn't, and he absolutely shanked it on 2 and took himself out of the tournament. He was like 2nd at that point.
Was that the one Webb won?
Yes, that's when Webb won because Furyk hit it in the tree on 16.
You didn't want Furyk to win?
Furyk had won before. Like, it would be nice if Furyk won, but he's already got a major.
Weird, like, outlier stat guys. Like I mentioned, Brandon Harkins, 8th in par 5 scoring over the past 12 rounds. He rates out really well, even a bit longer back inside the model. Surrey is the long shot. Uline is the long shot. But stats-wise, Glover. The glove.
Speaking of major champions.
The glove. Former major winner. 16th in approaches in the past 12 rounds. 15th in par 5 scoring. 20th in strokes gained in terms of greens and regulation. And proximity gained 12th from 150 to 175.
So are you guaranteeing me a Glover victory? Is that what you just said?
Well, let's just see how old Lucas is putting these days. That tends to be a problem for him. Let's see. The glove is... Oh, he gained a stroke putting last week and was awful with his iron somehow. It was just look at his strokes gained putting. -4, -2, -3.
Poor guy.
But he's gaining strokes everywhere those weeks, and it's ruining his results. He finally has a decent putting week. He can't hit an iron.
My goodness, he gained 6.7 there that one week as tee to green.
Yeah, tee to green, 6.7, 6.6 at Career Builder.
Yeah.
5.4. He's good tee to green. Guy legit can't putt. Keegan is just gaining more strokes tee to green. I know he's at deeper odds, but I just mentioned like the 3 or 4
But like
guys.
you said, putting is the least is the thing that you have the least confidence in transmuting week to week to week.
It is, but that's the thing. Like you can find a guy who's good tee to green. That's why Luke List and Glover and even Keegan Bradley are guys that do get backed because they have deeper odds for, hey, if he just gains like Hideki at this event.
Keegan
Hideki
couldn't make a putt there last year. We remember?
We were watching him.
We watched him. Keegan could not hit a putt.
Doesn't matter. I'm going to be on him this year. It's like Kokrak. If Kokrak could putt, oh, man, watch out. You'd be getting coked on the course.
Listen, if my on-head wheel should be a bicycle, like that's just one of those things.
It's an odd expression.
I guess.
Is it a popular expression among those of you who are 95 years old?
All right.
Was it big in the roaring 20s?
Some of us are aware of things that existed before the moment we were born.
No need. No need to care about those things. Brendan Steele is someone that has a great course history here. 3 top 10s in his last 6 starts. Was lights out with approaches last week. He's someone to give some consideration to at 50, but he's right in that range. Like Lowry ended up having a disastrous round 2. Okay. I like him better at harder courses. I don't like him in birdie fests.
Okay.
Weirdly enough.
And what's the winning score here going to be?
That's tough to say. It's going to range like the year Phil came out and shot 60 in the first round like 5 years ago or something. He won that year at -28, but that was like an outlier year. It's usually like -17, -40. It's going to be like the mid-teens.
Okay.
So you need to be someone who makes birdies across the board and just don't bleed them away on those tougher holes. So we'll see. Let's get to the picks. for me this week. We'll start with Jeff. Jeff gave me his preliminary card. You can hit up Jeff on Twitter at gfeinberg17 for his full slate of picks and whether he's trending somewhere on Wednesday. I mean, it's only Monday right now. We obviously won't have our full picks in, but he's playing that Ricky plus New England money line, 27-1. He's got Berger at 40, Henley and Charlie Hoffman at 70, Ollie at 80, X at 90, Ian Poulter at 110, and then we have Surrey at 125, List at 140, and a big bomb, 250-1, Hunter Mahan. No thanks for me. I know people are going to be on him this week, just no thanks. It's like how people are on Haotong to win the Masters now. No thanks.
If this was 2011, I'd be interested in Hunter Mahan.
I think he may have won this event in 2011.
There you go.
It's not 2011. He still has his Ace Hardware sponsorship, though.
Okay.
So I'm really debating between Berger and Noren at 40. So for my card, I'm going to go with Noren at 40. I might add on Berger later on, but for now, well, now I'm not going to. Noren at 40-1, just coming off. I don't love this course fit for him, but again, I feel stupid for not taking the 70 last week at a much harder course, mind you. And maybe he's a better hard course player, but he led everyone in strokes gained approach. If he can keep that going here, he can make a ton of birdies.
Okay.
If he can get the putter going. So I'm going to go with him. I think he's undervalued. I think he's closer to I don't think he's as good as Ricky, but by the world rankings, and there are flaws with the world rankings, but he's closer to those guys. So is Leishman, for that example, than their odds are this week. They're closer to those guys than they are to Webb and Finau,
sure,
for example. So I'll be going with Chappell at 66 in that range, Piercy at 66, and who was the other guy? Keegan at 66. I'm going to take a flyer on. I'll decide on Stanley a little bit later on, and Steele I'm giving more of a look at, but they're not on the card just yet. Spawn at 70s, Otto, along with Snedeker at 70, and who was the other guy? Siwoo at 110. Those are just auto bets until they win, until we get through Florida. Then Spawn's going to be off the card till the Masters. Then Snedeker's going to be off the card. Then I'm just going to bet Siwoo every week. He's 110-1.
You haven't named any of the players that I like this week.
Big shocker. Chesson Hadley, you did like.
I actually do like him.
I like him at 100-1. You'd be looking for more of an each-way play at that point. But Uline, Surrey, and who was the other guy at 100? Harkins.
Oh, right, him.
As bombs at 125-1. That's more where I would be looking for my top 10 range, my top 5 range. I'll have the outright on them, but a very mini stake. Even top 20 if you can find those odds. First-round leader guys, too. I haven't seen the T-splits yet, and I'll try to get to those later in the week. I'm not sure if I will, just based on us being at Radio Row. It's not going to be a huge golf week. We're trying to get it in early, so I don't know how much coverage I'm going to have on Wednesday, unfortunately, but that's where I'm looking for my outright so far this week. All of my cheat sheet released on Wednesday, so you can get up to date on that. You can find it at facebook.com/thepme. That's where I have it up. Plus, there are links in the column where you can find it too. One and done selections of the week. Who is your one and done selection?
Jon Rahm.
Jon Rahm?
Home course, playing great golf right now. I think he gets it done. I think he wins. But if he doesn't win, I still think he's a top 10 play this week.
Okay.
And
there's never
your
any,
simulator loves him too, so I feel good about that.
The simulator does really like him. You know who else the simulator likes? Harkins.
Well, okay.
Not that much, but it does like him.
Take him.
I'm not going to take Harkins from the one and done.
Take him.
You have no one and done strategy whatsoever.
No, I'm just taking stabs.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's my strategy is what do I feel that day.
Jeff is taking Charlie Hoffman in the one and done. I still haven't made my choice yet. I'm leading the three of us so far. I had a bad week. I had Cantley last week. I think he came T41. It was the first really bad week that I've had. I had a whole bunch of top 10s in a row, but no winners. In these things, you need some winners. That's why it's hard to go too down on the list because those guys just have such a low chance of winning.
Yeah.
You almost want to use sort of the pivot guy this week.
This is the first time I've taken a big player all year.
Hideki's going to be the chalk here. I think Rahm will too. Those will be your two most popular guys. I'm going to use
Mickelson.
I was thinking about using Justin Thomas. I just feel like he's the guy who's going to fall through the cracks at this event.
We haven't talked about him at all.
No, and that sort of thing. Maybe he's being more talked up outside of this little circle than
he's a top 5 player.
That's the thing.
He's like Day. When he's on his game, he's almost impossible to beat. He's an excellent player. I mean, I can't say a word bad about him.
People really burned him through the Hawaii swing based on the fact that he won twice there last year. I don't think a lot of people are going to use him. But look at last time out. He was 14th at the Sony, 4.5 on approaches. I'm going to use Justin Thomas.
I mean,
as my
honestly,
one and done.
You could use him any week. He's so good.
Sure, but the whole point of these things is that you want to use the big name player in the weeks
Of course.
Like, look at week 1 with Tournament of Champions. You know who no one used? Dustin Johnson.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
And he had just as good of a chance as winning as anyone else does.
Indeed.
Just like this week. People like Ricky has a great course history here. Hideki has a great course history. Rahm has a good course history. Spieth is Spieth. Like, Spieth, I have used Spieth already. I would give him a lot of consideration. I just don't think people are going to turn to Justin Thomas.
No, I think we didn't even talk about him. So there you have it.
Would you like to bet him?
No, I will not bet him. In fact, I promise I won't tail him at all.
Might have to put him on the card. Now that he's my one and done, I might have to invest some at 16-1.
But, I mean, if there's somebody in this field who shot 60 at this course, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him competitive, too.
I'm going to say, well, you're not picking him at all.
No, I'm saving him.
What do you think Phil comes this week?
Top 20 or better.
Really? I bet you Phil, let's see. I'm trying to work out the math in my head. 50-1, top 20 odds on him. He's probably like plus 275 as a top 20, I'm guessing.
Think that's about what – I think that's reasonable.
Is that something you would take?
Probably,
I
yes.
would not. That would be a bad.
I think that Phil's got certainly the character to do it here.
Phil's got the character?
Yeah.
He has the moxie to get a top 20?
He knows the course. I mean, this is, he's getting ready for next week, which is a big week for him, too. I mean,
in a head-to-head, what would you give me Keegan versus Phil?
They're good friends, too. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the fair odd would be. But I assume Phil would have to lay, minus 125, minus 130 at least. I
mean, Phil's 50-1, Keegan's 66-1. So
okay.
He's clearly the favorite.
He is, but not by a significant amount.
So would you give me plus 150 on Keegan?
Yeah, I think I would.
Well, let's make that bet.
Okay.
Keegan versus Phil.
What
plus 150.
What could go wrong?
Just pick on Phil. Picking on Phil on the weekend. The Ollie bet didn't work out, but picking on him day after day on the weekend.
Phil's problem is going to be weekends. I think
his arthritis gets all acting up.
Like he would be my favorite bet for first round leader at the Masters. I don't think he would even finish top 15 at the end of the tournament.
But Fred Couples is going to win.
I just think he's competitive. But Phil's the sort of guy where it would shock nobody if he shot like a 64 on opening day at Augusta and then just couldn't keep it together because he's tired and getting older.
And Von Taylor might track him down.
Okay, whatever.
When you're terrified of Von Taylor, it's going to be tough to win the Masters.
You can take all the pot shots you want.
Hey, you
can't take away 5 majors from him.
He is going back to the site of his last near-miss win, the closest he's come to winning a tournament.
Yeah, okay.
And he missed a 3-foot putt.
Well, he almost won a few years ago at Torrey Pines when he had Bones take the pin out of the out from the fairway.
Yeah, that wasn't close.
So he could read it. He misread it.
Yeah, shocker. I wonder if Bones is still on JT's bag here.
I hope so. I'm a big fan of Bones, so that would be great to see him get back in the winner's circle.
All right, you can check out my entire column up on DKPlaybook.com. The cheat sheet will be up on my Facebook page. Of course, you can follow Jeff and get his full picks on Twitter at GFeinberg17. And as always, never too late to follow Tim Anderson.
Tim Anderson.
That is not my name.
Heard it was.
It is not my name. It's at Tim Anderson87. I bring the funny. I am the maven of the people.
No.
Yeah, it's true.
Were you excited to go walking in the mall? Do you think you could lead a mall walk?
Not yet, because I don't know the ins and the outs and all the nooks and the crannies.
So when I go home and take a nap, you're going to scout out the locations?
I very well could. I mean, this is Edenic for those of us who like mall walks.
Do you think there's a lot of people? I saw some elderly people around. It looked like they were congregating in one spot. Maybe they went for a mall walk.
I would say they probably were.
All right. Well, you can find out all my stuff, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at the PME. Then you can basically subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience. We got a lot going on this week. Live from Radio Row. You can check it out up there. You can check it out on the DK Live app. You can check it out on the DraftKings YouTube page, on my Facebook page. It's going to be everywhere. We're going to have exclusive content. Tim and I did the Combine earlier today. You're going to see that. I crushed him. It wasn't even close. It was embarrassing for him. And we'll have enough footage that you can make GIFs out of it. And don't be afraid.
Please don't.
Don't be afraid to tweet pictures of Doug the Pug to Tim either.
Please don't do
that
either.
We're here during the week. And I promise you that if he does meet any players that are playing in the Super Bowl, I'll tweet those out just so you know who not to bet on for Super Bowl MVP. Because there's no chance that those guys could ever win. Anyway, I'm Pat Mayo. Enjoy the Waste Management Open. I'll see you next time.